and staying with us. Welcome back to the show. It's the AM Club on MX24TV, home of Fun, Fearless and Factual program. My name is Gordon Nambo. It's time for Motivation Monday, one of my favorite segments of the show. Let's just get right into it. My guest this morning is Reverend Johnny Okwe. He is a brand specialist, and you will see it by his fit when you see him. He's a brand specialist and has worked in the creative industry for over 10 years. He's also a creative director and an associate pastor at Charity Baptist Church, Ghana. And that's not all. He's a philanthropist and a bridge builder between the socioeconomic gap. He is a life coach, a mentor, and develops people to walk in purpose in order to fulfill their destiny. He's also the president of the African Freelancers College, TAF College. Reverend Okwe, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
Fabulous.
Thank you for your time. I met you at the awards, and we had a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
You're very, very animated, very, very lively, very, very passionate person, even from your conversations. Quickly, let me go back into your life and get to know you a little bit more. Where you grew up, your family, which part did you grow up in Ghana? What was it that pushed you into ministry? Talk to me.
Wow. Well, it's pretty deep, actually. We're going to be here the whole day. How many hours do you have?
No, we don't have hours.
How many weeks do you have? Yeah, so where do you want me to start from?
Let's start from, did you grow up here?
Yes, I grew up in Ghana.
Which part of Ghana?
In Accra. We grew up in Hacho.
Oh,
yes.
Hacho,
yes. I'm originally from Musu.
Okay.
Yeah, so I grew up in Hacho.
You'll be an Osu boy.
You're an Osu boy as well?
No, I said I had an inkling you'd be an Osu boy. Okwe, the name.
The name Okwe, yes.
Yeah. Right.
So I grew up in Osu. That's where my family home is. And we finally moved around West Legon area. And yeah, went to Achimov to school.
Ah.
Yes, so I'm a Motown boy.
Accra.
Yes.
That's why the English is very distinct like that.
Yes, I'm a Motown boy as well. But I left Ghana when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And traveled. I've been away for 30 years. I'm back now. And
13.
30 years. 30
years. Wow.
Yes. So I'm back now to bring something back to my people.
Let's start from here before you left, and then now you're back. Okay.
Yes,
so,
sir.
How many siblings do you have?
Siblings. With 6 boys.
Are you Ghana?
Yes, I'm a Ghana boy.
So
yes.
you have six boys.
I'm half Ghana, half a Kriapim.
Okay.
Yes.
Who is the Kriapim and who is the Ghana?
My mom is a Kriapim, and my dad is from Usu.
So you're more Kriapim because you know the thing they say about mothers. We always
exactly
even though we inherit patrilineally. Ghans inherit patrilineally, right?
Yes.
Yes. So even though you're Ghana, you're more connected to mom. So do you speak a Kriapim?
Small. It's not because a bit of a Kriapim and tree, so we mix them all together,
right?
And the Ghana.
But you speak the Ghana fluently?
Oh, yeah, I'm good with both. Yeah, I'm good with both.
What we got feel?
What we got feel? Obanya, what we got? You're testing me, huh?
Yes, I am. So, yes. And you're what? Among the 6 siblings,
I'm the fifth. I'm the fifth boy. And
almost last baby.
Could you imagine being the 5th boy out of the 6 boys? You know, they always had. We had a tradition in the house whereby if the first one was not around, we all had to wait. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a respect thing. So the first ones always started. And then it went back and back, and so I was always the 5th person to choose.
I think they'll bully you in a house like that because you're the 5th boy. You know, usually you don't let the older one, let's say the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, will not be the one doing the dishes and cleaning the house and all that. They'll leave it for the younger one.
Exactly. We always had to fight our way. Being a 5th boy, so it made us harder and it made us much stronger. So yeah, we're here today.
What took you outside Ghana?
Oh, my goodness. So many things. One day, my dad said, it's time for you guys to go. And we went. Yeah, that was it, really.
Tell me more. It's time for you to go. I wish my dad would look at me and say, it's time for you to go. Like by now, Canada somewhere.
It's... Oh, boy.
Tell me.
So my dad is a politician.
Okay.
And, things would get a bit tough. And politically, he was very vocal. And he was like, you know what? it's not too secure
So
right now.
being
So
here and then
yeah.
okay.
So it's time for you to get out.
We won't go so much into it.
Yeah, that type of thing. So that was the main reason why, we had to, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So it was you weren't seeking asylum, but just for personal security sakes, you decided to
Thank you.
travel and then okay.
Yeah.
So you schooled perhaps. Where did you go to?
Yeah. I went to school in London.
So it was London.
Yes, I
in
went.
the UK.
Yes, I went to school in London for a little while.
Tell me about schooling in Achimota and schooling in London, and what the differences are. What the similarities and perhaps the differences are.
I think it was much better in Achimota School. I loved Achimota School.
It was much better in Achimota school.
Yeah.
That's a surprise.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it was. I had my grounding. I became a man. We were bullied around, but we grew up to be hard, tough, and airborne. So Achimota School was great. The way the education was structured was pretty cool. I loved it in London as well. London was pretty much, let's put it this way, more laid back. Hardly any rules. Not as much rules, so you could get away with a lot of stuff. But Achimota was very, very strict. We had something called every breach of common sense was a breach of school rule. So regardless, we had this thing called the Blue Book, where you had to, had all the rules and regulations that you had to abide by. But then it had this one statement right in front of the book that says every breach of common sense is a breach of school rule. So regardless of what you did, okay, you had to, you always got punished because the teacher, senior would come up to you and say, "Why is your shirt not ironed?" And so that means you're breaking common sense. So that was a school. You broke the school rule. So there was always a reason why, you could be punished and all sorts of madness.
That sounds like you're creating a perfect human being.
Exactly.
Was that what they were trying to do?
Yeah.
Create a perfect human being. That would be impossible.
Yeah, exactly. But it was great. It was fun. I think it was all part of it. You learned respect. London, the teachers don't, even the students don't respect the head teacher. The students don't respect police officers. So, if you're not careful, you could become
unruly. Is it not because
unruly.
they say we are quite timid in this country? We are more timid people, and the foreigners, the UK people, the Americans, the Europeans, they are more outspoken, they're more vocal, they're more confident. Is that not why?
I think there's a difference between having confidence and being disrespectful. Big difference. Confidence is something that I always say, if I can't give my kids $1 million in cash, I want to give them $1 million in confidence. Because when you're confident, you can always go out there and make money. And if you're not confident, the confident person will come and scam you and take your money. So you have to be very, 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 very careful. There's a level of disrespect where you have no respect for the law. And that is a different, story where, students are going to school with knives,
right?
And that sort of thing. And it was real. My school, we had encounters where people were getting stabbed. I went to school, my school I went to it wasn't a bad school. It was a great school. But then from time to time, you hear of stories of knife crime and that sort of thing. So it's a thing that I'm sure we hear all the time. There's a knife crime and that sort of thing. But you hardly hear that. I never experienced any of that when I was in Achimota School.
Right.
We were very respectful. We wore school uniforms and we went out there and always...
So which of these experiences would you say pushed you or led you into ministry? Is it the good training you got for Achimota School where you understood respect, you understood discipline, you realized that life was in a certain way, or your experience in London where you were seeing all these crimes and you feel like there's a better way to all these things, and so you found perhaps God? And when did you find God?
Now that's a tough question because my father's a minister as well. He's a Baptist minister. We're fundamental Christians, fundamental Baptists. So going to church was something that we always did. But however, after a little while, I did not really go to church. I grew, I wanted to carve out my own niche.
Yeah.
So I remember for about 15 years, I went to church maybe about 3 times because I wasn't going to church. It wasn't a thing that I wanted to, not because I backslid. Okay, it wasn't a thing whereby I'd forgotten God, but I just never had the time to go to church.
And it's not what you're saying. It's almost like you're finding your own path. All the time you've gone to church is because perhaps you're following dad, you were being trained and go to church. But there was a point where you're not sure if it is that what you're saying? You're not sure?
No, I've always been sure.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I was the type of person who was always we can go to the nightclubs and a topic comes about God. I'm the first person to defend the faith. So I've always been a defender of the faith, but I was always wanted to find out what was out there as well. So I remember when I was at university, we started nightclub promotions.
In UK?
Yeah.
Okay.
Within, and I'm writing a book actually, so I'm not going to give too much away.
I can tell that you're holding back.
I'm holding back. I can't give everything away today.
It's okay.
However,
be nice to me.
After I graduated, we started off a record company, and the record company was I decided to manage artists and producers. So I was managing producers. My cousin was Hammer actually from the last 2.
Wow.
So I remember Hammer came up to me with 2 guys. One was 2 CDs. And he said, "What do you think about these guys?" And I said, "Very good, but I think this guy's international and this guy's more national." And these 2 guys is Edem and Sarkodie.
Wow.
He brought me this tape. And I told him Sarkodie is like, he's a G, so focus on him and make sure things work out. So, but he always wanted me to collaborate, but I was more focused on what was happening out there. So when we started the club, when we started the record company, I realized that I wanted to, I'm always the type of person who's always doing other things to complement what I'm doing now. So we decided let's do clubs so that we can get all the DJs into the record studio and get all the artists into the record studio. So we did stuff with Jagged Edge, Monto Jordan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Black Street, Horace Brown, so.
Reverend, you've been around.
Yeah. We've done quite a bit of things.
Wow.
They gave us Neo, Chris Brown to do a concert for them. So it was the type of thing that, we were doing there. We enjoyed to party a bit, but I was about my music business. So in doing so, we had to, start this nightclub promotion to bring, the artists in there so we could get them into the studio. So one of the guys I was actually working with, my producers, my music producer is did Burna Boy's ex-girlfriend's Hurt Me, Stefflon Don. Yes, and he did quite a few. He's doing some big tracks with Tiwa Savage and all of those guys. I used to manage him. But halfway through that, I got the call on my life. So I decided to leave London and go to America to go to Bible school.
Interesting.
So that's when, I quit everything, sold my Range Rover, and I was gone.
What was the call like?
The call? The call is, I can't say, I cannot talk for others, but I could talk for myself.
Yeah.
The call is like drinking champagne to quench your thirst. It doesn't matter how much bottles of champagne you drink, it can never replace water. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
So the water is just the only thing that can quench thirst. And I think I was filling my life with so many things to make me happy. At one point in time, we were going to buy, we wanted to buy Lamborghinis and all the funny stuff and live that, that glitzy lifestyle. My dream was to win an Oscar. And when I was halfway there, God pulled me out. So the call is a thirst that needs to be quenched. And the only thing that can quench the thirst is God. And that is when the pathway, that's when everything started, that I was going to go to Bible school. So I packed my bags, went to Ohio, and we spent some time in there. And I did my school and that sort of thing. And then when I graduated, and the crazy thing was when I graduated, and I was ordained as a pastor. Then my producer called me, and he said, "I've just got the record deal.
Look at that.
Do you want to be my manager?" So I'm standing at the crossroads whereby I could choose to go back into the world for $1 million contract, or I could be a broke student and have nothing with God, and just wait until God lifts me up again. So I was like, wow, that was the biggest decision I ever had to make in my life, because we're making a lot of money doing minimum $5,000 a pop for one event.
Why did you choose God?
Because I'd rather have God and lose my soul.
If anybody found themselves in that situation, what would you tell the person? What would be, because does it have to be internal? It has to be you digging deep to say that, okay, you know what, this is the path I have to go, even though $1 million is staring me in the face, or $500,000 is staring me in the face, this is the path to go. Or is that someone you can tell someone that do this because this is the way to go?
I mean, you see, before I started the nightclub promotions, I went to a kind of uncle figure of mine who used to be what's the name of this? Used to be a pastor. He's a missionary, that's the word. So he used to go from country to country telling people about Jesus on the boat and on the ships.
Wow.
So I went up to him and I said, "What do you think about this? I want to do that." And he goes, "Well, it all depends on where you are with God." Well, I looked at my life and I said, "Well, I haven't been in church for this long. I'm nowhere with God, so I could do what I want." So I decided to, do this. However, I remember one time, a friend of mine, who was pretty much at a point in time we're dating. And she told me, "I don't think you should be here. There's something about you, there's something on your life that I don't think you should be here." And it resonated with me, and it got to a place where I knew that, well, enough is enough. I need to make that decision. And other things happened as well. And when God started tugging on my heart, saying that, "Listen, son, it's either you come to me or, yeah."
Reverend, let's get very, 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 very raw now. Okay. Let me ask you very raw, because
I'm dancing around, right? Okay.
Yes.
Let's get deep.
I don't even want to use the Reverend tag as a person,
Yes.
as a human being, even in your walk with God. I am sure, just as right at the very beginning of your walk with Him after Bible school and all that, you got this juicy offer, almost like when Jesus was coming out of the wilderness to step into the world, and he got tested by the devil as to whether that is the path he should go. Should he really die for the world, or should he take what the devil was offering him? You had your own encounter. But in your walk with God, have you ever had to compromise?
Have I ever had to compromise?
Where whether, I don't want to say morally or spiritually, but have you ever had to compromise where you know that God may not necessarily be excited about this thing I'm going to do, but I ought to do it?
I cannot not really. I want to be real here. I haven't cheated on my wife. I've been married for 12 years now. Never kissed another.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's impressive.
Thank you. I've not done any of that stuff. I cannot remember. Maybe, we're not perfect. We're all human, so I'm not perfect. But any major compromises, I cannot really think. You know why, kids? I've given up so much to follow Jesus.
Do you feel pressure anytime to, live a certain way because you're a man of God, and perhaps because you've lived that life before? People have known you as someone who was, let's say, for the want of this conversation, in the secular world.
Yeah, I was definitely in the secular world. I was doing big things. I was diametrically opposed to where I was. I was in the clubs. I was doing all sorts of things. So but when I found Jesus, I realized is either I follow Jesus or I go back to the clubs. There's no point being in between. It's a choice you have to make. The Bible says you have to what? Give yourself as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing. And the most important thing is Jesus Christ could have decided not to die for you and I. But he said, not my will, but thy will be done.
Do you feel pressured? Is it tough, serving Jesus?
It's always, I wouldn't even call it tough. It's when you have made your mind up to follow Jesus, there's no turning back because I've burned my bridges. See, all depends on where you are. You see, it's a choice. No one is forcing you to do something, so what's the point being in between? I'm resolute. I've got my mind made up that Jesus is the only way. He's the truth and the life. And so that is where I am with Jesus, and nothing will sway me from following Jesus. So I'm resolute. I'm persuaded that this is the way forward. And everything I do has Jesus in the center of it, the front and the back of it, and he's the circumference of everything I do. So if I do not want to live that lifestyle, I don't have to. I know what to do to make money and live the lifestyle I want to live.
Would you describe your path as being easy so far?
No, it's not been easy. It's been very difficult.
Would you describe yourself as at least being privileged in any way because of perhaps where you come from, your background, your dad, being a politician and being a minister? Would you say any, there was a point where he says you have to leave this country and school somewhere in the UK. That's something not everybody gets. A lot of people don't get. So would you think, there's nothing wrong with, I think people feel like it's wrong to think that you were privileged in some form of way. Would you describe yourself as being privileged in any way? With your circles, going to school in Achimota and the kind of friends you had, would you say so?
I'm definitely privileged. And I think you're privileged. I think we're all privileged.
Tell me.
Just the fact that you have air to breathe, you're privileged. You got ears to hear, you're privileged. It's not about how you begin life, it's about how life ends, how you end your life. It's and I want to talk to other people out there. I've met so many people who had nothing when they were growing up, and now they're multimillionaires. And I have a lot of friends who are millionaires, whose parents are millionaires, and now they have nothing. All depends on you as an individual and what you make with it. If my father is a successful man, doesn't mean that I'm a successful guy. What I could do is I can enter into his harvest and get a seed out so I can sow it. But what is his is not mine. So when I'm walking in life, when I'm doing anything, I don't put my eyes on what they have. It's about what God wants me to do and where he's taking me.
Beautiful. Tell me about the African Freelancers College, briefly, if you can. Tell me, because you're very passionate about it.
The African Freelancers College. The African Freelancers College is a business school for creative people. Okay. Our focus is to change the trajectory of creative people. I went to creative school myself, so we graduate and then we look for work. Yeah. But now we're living a totally different age, whereby when you graduate from school, you can leverage the World Wide Web, you can leverage social media, you could do your own thing. But unfortunately, as we know, 80% of businesses fail in the first year. So if you're a creative person, okay, and you don't have any form of business training, you're pretty much bound to, there's a 90% chance of failing. So what we have done is we've partnered with some guys in London. We've come up with this course called the African Freelancers Course. Okay, no, the Freelancers Course is not necessarily African, but it's a Freelancers Course, and it comprises of 14 different modules. So we look at introduction to business studies and company formation. We look at the legal environment in which you're working in, so company law. We look at bookkeeping, accounting. We look at sales, negotiations, and we look at some soft skills, such as customer services. Right. We all know how it is in Ghana. It's not the greatest. Customer services, problem solving, critical thinking, leadership. So we've put these courses together. So when you graduate with from our school, you graduate with not only a creative subject, such as photography, cosmetology, but also you get this business thing to support you, and then you can go out there and start your own business.
How do I register? Is it expensive to attend it?
So what we are doing is a scholarship-based school.
Beautiful.
So we're giving free tuition to every student who comes to our school. So what you have to do is go online, okay, and go to our website, click on www.taftcollege.com, okay, and go to the contacts page, download the form, fill it out, and send it back to us. Our email address is admin@tafcollege.com. Or you can give us a call on 057 006 6000. And then you can find out all the information you need about Taft College.
That's beautiful. You're doing well with the Taft College.
Thank you very much.
And we're here to support you in any way
Thank
we
you,
can.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend John.
Thank you very much for having us today.
Beautiful conversation. I want to continue this conversation. I wish I could. I wanted to know if one can learn creativity or it's something that is God-given. But that's for another day.
I'm sure in the next conversation we could delve a little bit deeper into all of the stuff and take it up from there.
But my colleague, MFA Akosua-Adoti, is standing by with the next guest. MFA.
Hi, Godwin. Great conversation you've just had. There's so much wisdom to download this morning. Okay, so let's stay under the anointing. So this woman really needs no introduction. It will be, say, my second or third time having a conversation with Rosa